Hey everyone, it's Misty with My Paper Cuts, and I'm coming on today with a multiple card share. I am doing a one stamp three ways style of video. So recently I purchased a stamp lot from Sybil B here on YouTube, and I got it mostly for this stamp. So this is Winter Fairy from Penny Black. It is a red rubber cling stamp, and I could not wait to get this stamp. And once I got it, I couldn't decide if I wanted to Copic color it, use colored pencils, or watercolor it. So I decided to do all three, and I made 4 of each. So I got these all stamped and colored for you to see the cards that I did. For the Copic colored cards, I used this paper collection from Recollections/Michaels. This is called Red and White Christmas. It's just red, white, and gray. It has a lot of foiling, both in silver and in red. For the colored pencil cards, I used this Frank Garcia collection from Prima called Christmas Sparkle, and it is one of the pastel collections. And for the watercolor card, I used an old card kit that I purchased most likely from a craft show here in Phoenix. There were a couple of booths that used to come, and they always had kits, whether it was scrapbook kits or banner kits or card kits, and this is one of the card kits that I purchased. And this features the collection from SEI that is called Merry Mistletoe. Sorry for any glare there, but I still have a long ways to go on this one. But it had multiple sheets of this kind of a gray-green snowflake paper, and that's the color I was intending. When I watercolored, I intended to match Minte paper, but then I came across that kit and decided to use it. So I'll share the Copic one first. So this one is the one that was on the Red and White Christmas from Michaels. So for each card, I cut the fairy out using my brother's Scan and Cut. And on each one, I added an icy effect to the ice on the wings there. But I did it using crackle accents. And I don't know how hard this is to find now, but I love this stuff. This is like glossy accents, but you just let it dry and it cracks on its own. So you can antique behind it, or you can use it just the way I did, which was just clear. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to heat it. You don't have to do any mixing or anything. You just put it on and let it dry, just like glossy accents, but it will crack. And hopefully I can catch that in the light for you to see the cracks that I got. So that is fun, and I did do that on all 3 cards. I used some silver glitter paper to mount this snowy print on. The snowflakes in the background are cut out using regular white cardstock with this die set from Crafter's Companion called Snowflake Quartet. I use this all the time. These snowflakes cut out beautifully. They are very fine detailed. They're wonderful sizes. And whenever I get them out, I cut them with some scraps that I think I would like the colors of, and just keep this envelope stocked because I use them so frequently. So there's just a couple of those in the background. And then I did use the strip paper that's always in those hot buy pads, or those, you know, the Michaels pads. I did use a couple of patterns from that to ground my image. And then the Let It Snow is from this Penny Black sentiment set. This is called Joy and Happiness, and it's right there. And then on the inside of the cards, so for all 3 cards, I used the same snowflakes to stamp the edges, and those are from another stamp that came in the lot that I bought from Sybil. I am pretty sure that this is also a Penny Black set. I don't know the name of it, but I used the 2 snowflakes because I was also using the sentiments, so I wanted to use those. And I just mounted those in my Misty, and I stamped my inside panels for each of the cards, just depending on what matched. For this card, I used silver heat embossing, and the sentiment is just like the snowflake, you are one of a kind. And that one came from the first stamp set I showed from Penny Black, the Joy and Happiness one, and it's right there. So I did do, like I said, 4 of each card. So I do have 4 of the red ones here. And then for the next set, which used the Prima paper, I used colored pencils on craft. I love using colored pencils on craft, and for this particular one I used Prima. I did do a little bit of Gamsol blending to soften it out. I don't know why I was having trouble this time with it, but I also wanted it to have kind of more of that distressed look. I didn't want it to be perfect coloring. I did the same crackle accents on the wing, and the background papers there, they are mounted on a small or on a mat of soft pink cardstock. Everything is inked on this one using tea dye ink. I did do some texture paste over that. That is with a Tim Holtz stencil. Forgot to grab that. That is this stencil from Tim Holtz. And that is just white texture paste. And then I did do some splattering. It's gonna probably be hard to see. Oh, there you go. I did some splattering with some gold watercolor. That's the Gonzai Tombi ones. And then the snowflakes in the background here are cut out of craft paper, and they are from this Simon Says stamp banner. It's a snowflake banner, and it cuts out all these really small snowflakes that you can just trim off the banner if you want to use them separately, which I love. Very delicate and useful snowflakes. And then I put some really light blue pearls in the middle of those snowflakes. And the Sentiment Warm Wishes, I did the same thing. I stamped and cut it out with my brother's Scan and Cut, and I also cut out a shadow. And that is from this set, which is from Crafter's Companion, and it's called Sentimental Christmas. And then the inside has those same snowflakes, this time stamped in Spun Sugar Distress Ink. And May Joy and Happiness Snow on You, which that sentiment is from the set that I got from Sybil. Sorry, I don't know the name of that one. So I did do 4 of those as well. And then last, but definitely my favorite, is the watercolor. So for this one, I used my Daniel Smith dot sheets, which I like to purchase on Amazon. You can get a little dot sample of all of the colors from Daniel Smith, which are so pigmented, and those dots will last you a long time if you're a card maker like me. So she is, or he is, watercolored using those, and I have the same crackle accents on the wing there. And the pattern paper I showed you in the background, that is splattered with some white acrylic paint that's watered down. This strip of paper here is a specialty paper from Tonic. It is this one. I got this, I believe, in a Simon Says stamp card kit, because when Tonic sends it, they don't cut it down. But this is the size it came in. I do have this in a few sheets of the blue that I got in my Tonic kits, but it's really cool because it's pearly, and even this deboss side you could use. I think I'm going to order some of this white for my Christmas card making this year. And I put a little strip of a, I think it's called Really Rust from Stampin' Up! Cardstock behind it, just to draw out the color that I used in the image there. And then I used a regular oval Spellbinders die, and I ran the oval through this embossing folder from Tim Holtz. This is definitely a favorite. I think I'm going to try to find a backup so that in case something ever happens, because I would be devastated if I ever lost this embossing folder. I did ink the embossing folder with walnut stain ink before I ran it through the machine. I like to do that because if you want the best impression to get all of that glorious texture, you've got to mist your paper, and that makes the ink spread even more, which adds a wonderful effect. And that is also splattered with white acrylic paint. And the Let It Snow is the exact same one that I used on the Copic card there. And on the inside of this one, I stamped the snowflakes in antique linen. And I used the sentiment, even the strongest blizzards start with a single snowflake. I love, love, love that sentiment, and that came from the set that I got from Sybil. And again, I did 4 of those. So that is my card share for one stamp, 3 ways. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for sticking around. This is a little bit longer of a video for me, but I was super excited with how these turned out, and I hope you are too. I will see you on the next video. Toodles.